Great, so we shall begin then. I'm going to start with a really brief introduction, just so we can all be on the same page regarding the concept and the context of the game. But it's going to be really quick, like 10 minutes, and then we can just get on and play. So I think I've already mentioned most of this. So I'm an artist and a researcher, and the topic of my research is AI, Cyprus, colonialism, decolonial thought, and feminism. And I've been increasingly working a lot with artist games. And by artist games, I mean games that people can play, but they also form an artwork as they are. And I'm doing a PhD, and this artist game is part of my PhD. So it would help a lot if after the game you could fill this survey. It's completely optional, you don't have to. But if you do, it would help a lot, especially if you live in Cyprus, because these artist games that I'm doing, they're very Cyprus focused, and I would love to get multiple voices, not just my own, talking about Cyprus. So I shall start with a very brief intro into generative AI, what it is, how it works, and the ethical issues behind it that have inspired this game. So by generative AI, we mean AI models that generate data that can be images, it can be videos, it can be sound or text. And for this game specifically, we'll be interacting with AI models that generate text and AI models that generate images. So when we refer to large language models, that's AI models that generate text or that you can interact with using text or natural language. One such example is ChatGPT, which we all know. Text-to-image models, they generate images from prompts. So you might write like a text prompt, and then it will generate an image based on that. For this game, we want to use Western AI models. We want to see how Silicon Valley sees our own reality. You're all very welcome to use AI models that you already have been using, if they're Western, like ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, those kind of things, Midjourney. But if not, you can create a free account with Microsoft Copilot. That's a multimodal generative AI model, so that includes in one bunch. By the way, I'm an artist, I'm not an IT expert, so bear with me with the terms. So that generates images, that generates text, all in one bunch, so you don't need to create multiple accounts. But you all have some kind of account already, right? With some kind of generative AI model. Yeah, perfect. And how does generative AI work? This is a super simplified guide of how AI works from the point of view of an artist. So where in traditional programming, a programmer would write very explicit instructions, aka code, that tell the computer exactly what to do step by step. And then the computer executes these instructions to solve a specific problem or do a certain task. AI, on the other hand, and particularly machine learning, works a little differently. Rather than explicitly programming a computer to perform a task, AI systems are trained on a large number of data, and which is then being analyzed statistically. It identifies patterns, and through that statistic analysis, they are then able to create predictions or decisions or generate, I don't know, image or text or whatever. So as an example, generative adversarial networks, which is one type of AI model that generates images from a training data that is bunch of images. So for example, if I wanted to create a GAN model that generates images of cats, I would then need to find like thousands and thousands of images of cats. And these images are used as training data, which the model is then able to analyze statistically and identify patterns of what they look like, so it can then generate synthetic images, a bunch of pixels that look like cats, but of course they're not real cats. And what's important to note here, it's not going to be able to generate images of dogs because we've only given it images of cats. So that's something to keep in mind when we work with the AI models. And based on all of that, I'd like to talk about the myth of the universality of AI models, that it works equally well for everyone, everywhere. If we look at the narratives that AI leaders use when they promote their products, they talk about how they're meant to be universal, they benefit all of humanity. AI is going to come and solve everything. No job is going to be needed. No one will have to work. AI will lead us to the best world ever. But the best world ever for whom? Power in AI is not equally distributed around the world. And by power, I mean who creates these technologies, who has access to them, who has a say in what kind of technologies are created, who benefits, but also who is left out. AI is a very expensive technology, and as a result, there's huge differences on who has power to create these. And smaller and poorer countries are unable to compete with countries like the US and China. And as a result, we have centralization of power in AI to just a handful of mostly North American private companies. And with that, we have the values, the worldviews, the prejudice of those entities that are then transferred into the technology as well. So for example, when we look at generative AI, we see that, for example, American cultural elements such as the American smile is imposed on AI-generated images of communities or groups or cultures for whom that is not part of their culture. And we also see very West-centric biases embedded in the technology as well. So if you generate an image, a photograph of a CEO in Stable Diffusion, 94% of these people that are CEOs are men, and they are by far white. So how would a Cypriot CEO look like, for example? And that is the thinking that inspired the game that we're going to play today. Here is the concept. So this is a single-player role-playing game, but today we're going to try and see how it works if we play as a group. Of course, you're all going to play your own game, but it's interesting to see how it turns out if we all play somehow together. Maybe we could have group discussions and reflect how your maps end up going to look like. So this is the premise. The game is set in a world where Western AI companies have colonized new territories. And each of you will be a cartographer. You're going to draw a map of your hometown, which has been colonized by Silicon Valley. And throughout this game, you're going to have interactions with various colonial AI systems that have been created in the West. And through these interactions, you will manage to map what this reality looks like of your hometown that's been colonized by Western AI. And so you should all have a piece of paper, blank paper, yeah. You all have a template, which I'm going to talk about very soon. There should be dice. I hope there's enough for everyone. Maybe we could pass a few to the back as well. And yeah, perfect. And there's various drawing, journaling materials. You're welcome to use whatever you feel most comfortable with. Or if you have some kind of, tablet you want to draw on instead of a sheet of paper, that's also fine. Whatever works for you best. And just a few words about the game. So yeah, as I said, we will all draw a map of our hometown. You will be given various tasks throughout the game, and they're not always very specific. And it's like that on purpose because I'd like you to respond to them as you seem fit, like what is more comfortable for you. And it's up to you how this map is created. If you prefer to draw, if you prefer to write, completely up to you. It's very open. And unless at any point you're specifically told what language to use, you're welcome to use whatever language you feel fit. And yes, there's some leaps in the time-space continuum. We will together decide what the narrative is going to be. So you can just either go with it or try to come up with a reason why there has been such a leap in the time-space continuum. Here's an example of a map that's been drawn before, but you don't need to do this. Completely up to you. And this is how I suggest we play the game today. So we will all draw our own individual map, and then we'll reflect together on the results of what has been generated by the AI models. We don't need to create a masterpiece today, so maybe just spend just a couple of minutes on each task. If anything makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to do it. You can find your way of going about it. And obviously, don't input any sensitive data when you interact with AI models, especially large language models, because the AI companies will most likely use all the stuff we write there to train further iterations of AI models. And this game is going to be a book. It's going to be an offline analog book. And if you play the whole game from start to finish, it might take many hours or days. So today, we're going to play an excerpt. So let's see how that goes. If anyone is interested in playing the whole game, let me know, and I can send you the whole game. In return, I would like you to fill my surveys, if possible. Great. And I'll, lastly, before we begin, I just want to explain this template I've given you. This here. This is the gaze tool. So this is going to help us understand and keep track the gaze of this generative artificial intelligence models we're going to be using. We're going to be looking through whose lens, through whose perspective are the various representations made. So this is the first time I'm using this, so I'm really looking forward to see how it's going to work out. I welcome any feedback. So the top part of the template, there we're going to write whose perspective is being portrayed in the various images or text that's generated by AI. So for example, could it be a male gaze? Is this image does this image portray something through the gaze of a man, or through a Western gaze, through a Christian gaze, and so on? And then the bottom half here we're going to look what kind of quality these representations of the various images and text that we generate are. So perhaps if it's correct, if something is generated correctly in our mind, we can fill one little square. Or if something is incorrect, we can fill another square. Or if something is racist, or something is sexist. I've left most of them blank to allow you to make up your own mind. I've just put some examples here of what you can use. Does that make sense? Yeah? We can look at it again while we play. So yeah, that's it. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Are there any need to use generative image AI, or can we go about without using that and just using text-based images?
We're going to use generative images as well.
What if I don't have an account?
So we can. You don't want to?
Yeah.
You can use my account.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, which is no. We can use this demo of Stable Diffusion where you don't need to set up an account. So yeah. So it's this one here. I should have made QR codes. Didn't think of that.
Alexia, can I ask you, so when you started doing the game, what was your intention? Was it to collect data? Was it like to create the game for people to be entertained? What was your motivation? Just to get an
Yeah,
idea
of course. So 3 purposes. On one hand, it's a game through which we prompt critical examination of generative AI. The second one is an artwork on its own. So the book that is going to be the game, that's going to be an artwork. And also these reflections that we're going to go through today, which is what this survey is based on, just to see how you experience this. It's like a way for me to gather information of how various people on this island feel like when they interact with generative AI models, whether they feel that they work well for their own, life experience, if they don't work well, because I don't want to be talking on behalf of everyone when I do my research. So it's very important for me to get input from others as well and see how everyone else experiences it too.
Okay, so the data collection is about the use while playing the game or the content of the game?
The reflections of drawing the map. So the map itself that you're going to create, that's all yours. I'm not going to use it. It's more about your thoughts afterwards. And like when we have little like reflective discussions, I might write some keywords down just to see if we all agree on something, if we disagree on something. But what's also interesting is how many of you actually are based in Cyprus? Only three and a half. Okay, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works in various geographic, cultural contexts as well. Yeah, because I've once played a previous version of this game with also quite an international audience. And people from more Western countries, they felt it worked much better for them than people from, Middle East, for example. So I'm wondering to see if it's going to be the same thing today. Do we all have some kind of access now to at least one image model and one text model? Yeah? Super. Any other questions before I begin? I'll explain now. Yeah. So it's okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we all have access to some kind of generative AI model. Super. Okay, let's get started then. Okay, so because it's going to be a book, it's quite text heavy as well, but I'm going to do like the narration as well. So let's begin. You're a solitary cartographer, and let's imagine that you have found yourself returning to your hometown after being away for many years, for a really long time. And things might have changed a little bit since you've last been here. Now your hometown has been colonized by Western AI companies, where their definition of reality dominates your hometown. And your task now is to map this local reality of yours following the various prompts that you're going to get now throughout the game. So what we want to see is Western generative AI models' reality the same as yours. So first task, get something to draw on, get a sheet of A3 paper, any pencils or whatever you want to use. There's some markers, colored pencils, and fine tip liners. Yeah. Now, I'd like you to decide, what is your hometown and which nation does it belong to? Cypriot-based people, I would appreciate it a lot if you could think of a Cypriot hometown to relate to. Yeah.
It used to be a real place.
A real place, yeah.
And we write it down or we draw it?
You can write it down as a title of your map.
So we don't need to say our hometown, like where we're born. Yeah.
If it's not Cyprus, maybe not. Otherwise, yes.
I just have to Google the map of my hometown. Not
Okay, yeah. It doesn't need to be the real map. It can be like whatever. So this is what it's going to be. Like you can have a little legend somewhere with your hometown. Just an outline that you can then add things throughout the game. Great. And if you're done, the second thing we're going to add to the map's legend is I'd like you to pick 3 or more identities that you belong to within your hometown. So you can pick any 3 that you feel comfortable writing down. Yeah. And these are going to be your local communities that we'll use at some point during the game. These are some examples, but you can use something else too. For example, it can be female, Christian, refugee, or whatever. Great. Okay. Now, based on the local community you have chosen, the 3 identifications, are you part of the dominant groups of your hometown, or are you a minority?
We
Okay.
get to choose, or Or do we have to reflect upon the
Reflect. This is all about reflection. It is what it is. Hi.
Can you go back to the previous step?
Yeah. Hi,
No, I
you're-
was joking. I'm not gonna change it.
You just write it, or just like.
Yeah, you can make a little legend for your map, for example.
When in my life I was remember
Yeah. And if yes, yeah. Did I stress you out? Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Welcome. You can sit here or over there. I'll give you. So we've just started playing the game. Have a seat. I'll explain this as we go. But for now, everyone has been asked to decide what their hometown is. So this game is, okay. There's one more person, so I'll explain at the same time. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, write it down. You don't need to write it down whether you're a minority or not. I just want you to keep it in mind. If you think you belong to a dominant group, keep in mind that when we belong to dominant groups, we might not always notice oppression or that something might be wrong. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I'm going to steal one of your dice. Is that okay to share? You can share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, how are you? So you can pick from here something to draw or journal with. We've got pencils, colored pencils, markers, felt tip. Shall we have a 5-minute break so I'll also catch up the newcomers so you can have some coffee or something, just so I think it's easier if we're all on the same page when we start playing. Yeah. Welcome. Okay. Hi guys. How's it going?
Sorry.
It's okay. No, I think it's good that we all start at the same time. Otherwise, just to. So I'll give you a quick intro to the game. So we're all in this game. We're all a cartographer. We're a person who creates a map of our hometown. And you have returned to your hometown after being a bit away for a very long time. But now things are a little different, because Western AI, Silicon AI companies have colonized their hometown. And your task is to draw a map of what your hometown looks like now, how it has changed, or maybe it has not changed. And through the map, we'll see how that is. And you can either, it's all very open, so you can draw, or if you prefer to write or journal, make a diagram, up to you, completely up to you. And you also have these templates where throughout the game, we try to look through whose perspective the various stuff that the AI model generates, whether, could it be through a gaze of a male person, a white person, a Christian person, an American person. So I'll show you here. Where is it? So here. And don't worry, we'll go through it throughout the game anyway. So this top part is whose gaze. So Western, male, Christian. I've left it blank because it's up to you to decide, through whose gaze. And then here, we keep track how correct the stuff that the generative AI model generates are. So every time you feel like something has been generated correctly, so here there's a correct thing, so you can just fill a little square. Or if you think it's incorrect, there's another one here. Or if it's racist, and so on. But again, I've left a lot of them blank, so it's up to you to, how you feel. There's no right or wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess throughout the game we're gonna understand it better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll share a bit more. But for now, I'd like you to decide what your hometown is. This is part of my PhD work as well. So if you want, completely optional, at the end of the game, I will share a questionnaire for you to answer. You don't have to if you don't want to. But if you're willing to do that, it would be really helpful if your hometown could be, if you live in Cyprus, is where you're based here in Cyprus, and then see how well AI depicts that or not. But completely optional. You can pick some other place too, whatever you feel most comfortable with. What else? Yeah, so what we do now is create like an outline of our hometown. Doesn't need to be the correct, realistic outline, just to have like something to draw on. We put the title of our hometown. So do that first, and then I'll explain the rest. Yeah. So far, we all have the name of our hometown on the map, the title, and 3 or more identities that we relate to, yeah?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Throughout the game, I like you to be cautious of colonial agents who are serving big tech, and they're out to get you. Throughout the game, you have 3 chances in total to check whether someone is a colonial agent. And we're going to make this decision together as a group. We're all going to vote and see how everyone feels like. I don't know how it's going to be like if we only play an excerpt. We'll see. But I'll show you the 3 ways we can check if someone is a colonial agent, and we can only use each way once throughout the game.
When you're saying someone, you mean someone else?
Someone of the characters that we're interacting with. Okay. Yeah. No, we don't play with each other. We all play our own little game in our own little world, but we're going to have some reflections together, and we're going to make decisions together. Yeah. Great. So we're going to check that we're going to be able to check throughout the game whether someone is a colonial agent of the characters that we interact with. The first way to check is look at their hands. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. If you suspect that some character might be a colonial agent, check their hands. Sometimes colonial agents have more fingers than usual. They might be a little deformed, or they might be growing from unusual locations. The second way we can check if a character is a colonial agent is by asking them only something a true local will know. That's why I've asked you to pick a hometown that you are aware of. Last chance to change your hometown. Okay, so how well would they answer this question? The third way to check whether someone is a colonial agent is to check their reflection in their eyes. So often the white highlights, reflection that we have in the pupil of our eyes is not consistent with eyes of AI-generated humans. So we have a real person and a colonial agent here as an example. So a real person, the little whites, they would be consistent on both eyes, angle, size, perspective. Whereas a colonial agent, the little white stars in their eyes might differ from one eye to the other.
Are we already generating some negative bias against colonial agents?
In this game, the colonial agents are a negative thing that we don't want to have. Yeah. So we will begin. Okay? Let's start.
Is it good to start from the airdrop to us?
I can send you the whole game later if you want to play the whole game, yes?
No, I think I want to play this, but I want to say it. It's like back.
Can we do it later so it doesn't take too much time now?
Okay.
Yeah, because we're all going to play together anyway. Yeah, but I'm happy to send it to you. Okay, part 1. So there's a familiar smell in the air. How long has it been since you've been away? You used to know every nook and cranny of your hometown. You could easily navigate through the various neighborhoods, but things have not remained the same. And you feel like a stranger walking around your old neighborhoods, the old roads that you used to take. And so as you wander around and meet new inhabitants, you start mapping your experiences. So if you haven't already, please draw a very basic outline of your hometown. Now, we're gonna start using text-to-image models. Do you have access to text-to-image model? Otherwise, I can share a website with you where you can use one for free without registering. Yeah.
Can ChatGPT generate that? Or?
Do you have the free ChatGPT account? It can generate up to like a few. So maybe I'll show you another one that you can use. So what you can start now, in English, prompt a text-to-image model to generate an image of your hometown. So what's really important is we don't want to give too much information. We want to see what is normal through the perspective of the AI model. So you can just write a photograph of whatever your hometown's name is. And once it generates the image, you can draw or note or whatever your interpretation of that image on the south side of your map. So that's how we start generating the map. And for anyone who requires a free text-to-image model that you don't need to register to use, you can use this Stable Diffusion demo, which is, yeah. It's a website. Next time, I'll remember to create QR codes for each one. And you don't need to spend too much time drawing or writing. We want to get like the gist of it.
What are we supposed to do with the image again?
So, gosh. Yeah. So you just generate an image of your, for example, like this, a photograph of, I don't know, Limassol, and you draw it on the south side of your map. Or you can make a note about it if you don't want to draw.
Did you ever generate images with Gemini? Because
With Gemini, Gemini doesn't generate images because they had that little scandal with the Nazis. So you can go, You can use stable diffusion if you like. This specific stable diffusion model is good because it doesn't have as many restrictions. Hang on, where is it? Where is it? Yeah, you can use this stable diffusion 3 medium.
You will need to sign in, right? You use it and then those two.
Directs me to GitHub.
Yeah, same here.
Really? Okay, what if you Google stable diffusion 3 medium?
I just wanted to just stable diffusion, and I googled it, and the first thing that comes up is like that. I mean,
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
have sort of like a free trial, but I went and signed up with Google.
Oh, okay. There's, yeah.
You googled it, there is a Hugging Face
Yeah.
you can use, I think.
Yeah, yeah, if you can use a Hugging Face.
But I think if people never use Hugging Face, maybe they don't know where to click, but I can share this link.
Yeah.
And also it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really change. Let me see.
Let me find the website then.
Copilot can generate because I have Copilot.
Yeah, yeah, Copilot is great. Yeah. Is there anyone who hasn't managed to get a text-to-image AI model working? Is everyone okay? Yeah.
How it looks?
Okay, cool. Nice, nice. We'll talk about it in a bit. Gonna try Copilot. Yeah.
It's doing something.
Okay. Otherwise, it just seems to be a very slow internet because I did the same. It just took a really long time to load, which is a shame. Okay, no problem.
Saying that try later on, it's not working.
Okay, if you Google, I go to this Hugging Face. That should hopefully work. Use this model. Or hang on, what's the difference with yours and mine?
The
No, it should be a bit different. If you
the other
go,
problem is that yesterday my screen broke, so I cannot even see all of this.
there you go. So you can write here your
Okay.
prompt and then just click on run. No problem. No worries. Okay. And if you've already managed to draw your little piece of neighborhood on the map, you can think in your own mind, in your own experience, through whose perspective was it made, and kind of add it here on your little gaze tool template. So if you think it was through the gaze of a local, if you think it was depicted through a gaze of a tourist, of I don't know, of some American who's never stepped in your hometown. Yeah. Yes, yes.
What do you think?
It's quite.
Looks like the north side.
Yeah, and it's like why are all the? It looks a bit like a war zone in a way, yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit. Could it be a bit like orientalized, like seen through the eyes of some American who thinks like the whole we're all Arabs, basically, yeah. Yeah. If you agree, of course. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Yeah. Yeah. And you can think, is it an exoticized image? Is it made to look more exotic than it is? Is it correct? Is this what you would do? Is this how you would depict? And it's interesting to see how that, because I think people are using different AI models, so it's interesting to see what the... You can put a note, or you can just have it here. Yeah, up to you, whatever you feel comfortable. Okay, let's move on. So now, I'd like you to move to the east. And again, in English, I'd like you to prompt a text-to-image model to generate an image of a specific area in your hometown. So think some specific area in your hometown and ask it to generate that. And draw it on the east of the maps.
Area for me or for the all?
For you. For you. So I don't know, maybe it's a road, maybe it's a landmark, maybe it's a shop, maybe it's a house. So it could be like a photograph of science in Nicosia or something, you know.
Should I like the name of the town? Should we all say it?
It will help. Yeah.
Oh my god. Give it like a genuine map.
Yeah.
Back to
And again, don't spend too much time drawing.
Here we just write one thing.
You can write more than one. You can write as many as you like, however you feel like. And you can even add new ones if you run out. Yeah.
Where I should run this? This side of me?
Don't draw them too big, because we're going to be drawing throughout the game. So leave space to make additions as well. Otherwise, you can extend your map and create little islands if needed. That's okay.
Like every image in create, it has ruins everywhere because it's Greece.
Of course, yeah. So quite stereotypical then, huh? Yeah.
Super like tourist Western vibes.
Touristic, stereotypical tourist.
Yeah. There's like marbles everywhere.
Yeah,
Because that's Greece.
of course. Nothing else.
Limestone.
And if you're done with a little sketch, you can add as well, again, whose gaze. If you come up with something new that you didn't experience in the previous image. Also, you can fill a little square here of what you think. If you feel it is a correct generation of that place, you can fill a little square here in the correct. Or if you think it's stereotypical, you can create a new little, use a blank ray here and write stereotypical and fill it in. Or if you think it's romanticized, whatever you think, it works.
I can't use colors.
You can use colors, yes.
Sure you can. Oh, maybe these are fine. Don't take it so serious. Always so serious, I'm very sorry. Sometimes I read too serious. Yeah, that makes so much.
blue pencil, yeah, that should be here. It's kind of blue, blue-gray. Ah, it's the same as those, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Shall we move on? Yeah. Now, I would like you to use your own language or your own dialect, and use your own language or dialect to generate an image of your hometown, so we can see how it compares.
What if my language and my hometown don't really match?
Then that's an interesting thing. Yeah.
Should we use like, for me, like briefly, let's say, or
Yeah. You could use Greek and see what comes up.
like with the Latin alphabet again?
Try Greek alphabet if you have access to it. Yeah. So, in your language or in your whatever language you decide to use, and a photograph of your hometown.
Oh.
Yeah, so photograph of, I don't know, Paris.
The open arts, where are you doing it? For me. For this. Or the chat chip.
Open art. Oh, I've never tried this before. Oh,
You give the link.
open art.
Oh.
The other one was Open AI.
Study the vision.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that works. Okay, yeah, super.
That's Larnica.
Ah.
What language do you use?
Hi.
What do I even? I'll draw it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you should.
I will. Like this kind of revealing, I don't think that I've seen anything like this.
It doesn't let me use breathe.
It doesn't let you. Okay, so that's one thing that's already interesting, that it doesn't let you.
Yeah. Only English.
Okay, make a note of that on your map. If it doesn't work in your language, make a note of that in your map as well, because that's also important. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. It worked with Cyrillic.
It worked with Cyrillic. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah. Whenever I've tried in Greek, I've tried with Google Image, like text to image by Google, and it just comes up with photos of hamburgers in Greek. Whatever it is that I input.
Very American.
Yeah. Okay. And if you're done with that, or the last prompt. And the last prompt for whoever's done with the previous one, in English again, prompt the AI model to generate an image of the most beautiful area of your hometown. So the prompt would be something like a photograph of the most beautiful area in Nicosia or wherever. And you draw that on the western area of the map.
What was the second one?
The previous one was to use your own language, and the one before was to generate an image of a specific area in your hometown. Yep. No problem. If I'm going too fast, just shout.
I've got the same place, but with the sunset.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
Did something change dramatically in the last
I don't know how to join.
Cool. Lisa, Bexis. Non so da qua. Oja krivo, spet smo nos. Kam niso dite. Apla geografie ziso di sulali. No pressure. No worries. Oh, wow. Cool. So if you're done with your drawings, while we wait for the others, you can fill the template, so you can think about through whose gaze, through whose perspective the various images that were generated depict, and whether they were correct, incorrect, stereotypical, or anything else that you want to add. That way we can keep track of everything and see if any patterns emerge.
So I can put another prompt?
Here. Yeah. Yeah. So the top one is whose perspective, whose gaze? So for example, I'll show you this example here. So if you look at everything that has been generated so far, the top ones, the white race here, you can think about through whose perspective the images that you generated are. So if you think it was through a tourist perspective, if a male perspective, American, Western, I don't know, through a specific group in your hometown, a Christian perspective, a Muslim perspective. So that's the top. And then here below, we keep track how correctly everything that was generated is done. So for every image that you think was generated in a correct way, that you agree with that yes, this is how it looks like, you can fill up a square where it says correct. Or if you think it was stereotypical, you can add a new little ray here that doesn't have a title. You can write stereotypical and fill up a square.
Like if I ask anyone to do a thing based on something like really popular, like Lord of the Rings, okay, landscape, how can I say this is stereotypical? I mean, I asked him.
Are you using a fictional hometown? Okay.
Yeah, kind of. I mixed like the seaside with modern landscape.
Okay. Well, that's
Stereotypical for
That's up to you to decide then in your mind, in your experience. Yeah. It's easier if you use a real place that you can relate to. But I mean, yeah, let's see how this turns out like this. All right. So has your hometown changed since you left based on all these images you've generated? Tragically? Yeah? Yeah? Tragically, yeah?
Mine changed like a million%.
Okay. Did the AI model get anything right?
Palm trees.
Palm trees?
That's about it.
Yeah?
And also very few of them compared to the reality.
Okay.
In my case, there were elements that, like, one street, for example, it was the perspective of the street that is the same scale and perspective of that real neighborhood. But other than that, like, nothing was accurate. And maybe, like, in one photo, what was accurate was the, like, mountains and, like, the surroundings, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
The far surrounding.
Okay, so not the specifics.
No, like.
Yeah. So whose perspective do you think these images represent that you have generated?
Definitely like a Western tourist who's mistaken and who's kind of a colonizer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Agree, disagree?
Also tourist and romantic
Romantic.
and into shopping.
Okay.
And definitely from the city, from the countryside, Western and half AI, half human.
Okay. Why half AI, half human?
Because I saw there was this, you wrote human, and then I thought, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it looks human, but definitely there's some glitches which are AI.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I asked you.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, also, I might want to mention architect now that you say it, because a lot of the images that were generated, I assume, given of what I've actually seen in real life, are based on 3D architectural projects, which either exist or are being planned or are, on the plot sign of the land that's being bought, because a lot of that is happening in Monaco right now.
Okay.
A lot of the images that I have found that were generated look quite a bit like those.
Okay.
Like they're not real places, but they're similar houses of the 3D models.
Okay. That will lead me to the next question. But before that, yeah, you want to add something?
Was I'm playing around with you how you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not right in my hometown, I tried to see how it works. And I think it extrapolates from real photos of the old town of Nicosia. So it uses the architecture, but it uses it in a more stylized, exotic way, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And when you add characteristics to it, like make it more beautiful, it adds stereotypical characteristics of beauty, like plants and water and stuff like that. So I am not sure that it has a specific bias. It has a specific bias, but not from the bias of a specific person. The elements of beauty it can have the bias of beauty applied onto the architecture. And it creates something which I would call. I agree with him that it's sort of like a mixture of AI and human. So
Okay.
I would say we are moving into AI aesthetics right now.
Okay.
And this idea of what AI considers to be beautiful based on.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. And so based on these two questions, which are really kind of connected, and it leads me to the next point, as we saw earlier, generative AI learns to create images from the input, from the data that we provided as training data. And most of the images that are being used as training data are images that are found on the internet. So based on the outputs you've generated, what kind of images do you think the AI model has been trained on?
Yeah, I kind of answered it, but I think architectural projects that maybe are real or are not yet real or are being planned. And also I see that there's not that much of a real representation of Larnaca present. It's very fictional. Like there's houses that kind of look like they could be there, but it's an endless street. And another image that it generated was of a huge kind of Amazon-like lake going through a map.
Okay.
A lot of the images generated were actually just maps from above, like satellite maps.
Ah, really?
So that was
Okay.
quite interesting. So that's probably also part of the data set.
Okay, since I did something fictional, I tried to search like a prompt with my hometown. Okay, I searched image of Mini, and it gave me like a kind of mix, but it's almost like Venice.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah.
So I'm actually the city, so it's totally wrong.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this what's it called, architectural stuff, because I actually wrote like tried to I wrote into the AI just from something from Valencia, Spain, and it almost like showed like always this kind of architectural stuff which could be there, but currently my friends are there studying, also doing the rest of the world like I'm doing that, and I saw them pictures like putting Instagram stories, and they were like totally different. So they weren't like mostly architectural stuff, and they were like actually more, I don't know, different from that. And what I actually found really funny was, as you said, you can just write in your own language a photograph of your hometown, and then it appeared actually human.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
But I wrote in Russian,
Yeah.
so and that appeared actually a Russian person. So
Yeah.
this like traditional wearing, so it was really funny actually.
Mine was having a wedding, which was neat.
Yeah.
It was very
Like mine was actually like wearing some kind of Russian traditional clothes, and the flowers was really so beautiful. Yeah. But I couldn't draw, so I wrote it.
Yeah.
I kind of looked like you a little bit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting when we proceed now with the game, because it is actually these AI models, and especially large language models such as ChatGPT, they are trained mainly on English language, and they don't work very well in other language. I should have brought the statistics with me, but if I remember correctly, I might be wrong. The English language takes up more than 50% of natural language data sets such as Common Crawl, whereas, for example, Greek is 0.6% of the entire data set.
Are you pleasing the ChatGPT to do it? Something? Please do.
We can try in a bit and
Because
see.
we are doing this.
Yeah. And also, with whom did it work well if you used your own language?
It was funny because it worked, but I think it added elements from other cultures and other cities. I think it really, it wasn't, because until, like most of the photos look like a tourist taking a photo with the phone of an empty street that is very narrow. But this one, it was a cathedral with a cross on top.
Okay.
With a lot of ornaments.
All right, interesting. Or on stable diffusion, if I write something in Greek, I just get images of like Greek islands. So, yeah.
It's not hamburgers, so that's not.
Yeah.
So we need something actually Russian.
Yeah.
Could be, because I wrote in Bulgarian, but it doesn't understand.
Okay. Yeah. I think German is the second most popular language in the data set. So I don't know. Does anyone? German. Yeah. Did you try in another language?
Yeah. In Arabic, I tried in Arabic, and it worked actually.
Worked?
But
Yeah.
anyway, all of them, whether in English or in Arabic, they were like very biased, you know. They were like nothing good close to the reality.
Okay.
maybe in one underprivileged neighborhood like Islam in some suburbs of the city, there is this kind of architecture or this feel of a street, but it's not the whole city that is like this, or this is not the way the city looks like.
Okay.
So it was all of the photos in English and the one in Arabic, they were very showing one aspect that is not the main aspect.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Great.
So it worked for me as well in Greece.
It did. Oh, okay. Which model did you use?
DALI.
DALI.
ChatGPT page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might work better.
For me, actually, it almost didn't show any architecture.
Okay.
Like no building.
No, I used DALI, which is
We don't have buildings. Like
You don't have buildings in Greece now.
we didn't do like ruins or just this area.
Okay. Oh, that's peculiar.
Or like this stereotypical. It's north.
Okay.
And it's quite new. So.
Okay. Interesting. Ah, but you also got a sexy lady there.
Yeah. And,
Okay. Great. Maybe later, when you, I don't know, go home or something, you can do a Google image search or something of the various things you've looked and then compare what's, the images that pop up and the images that the AI model generated. But let's move on. Okay, so you're wandering around, you've mapped some, general elements of your hometown, and suddenly you notice someone. In English, I'd like you to, again, prompt the same text-to-image model that you use to generate a photograph of a person from your hometown. Again, we don't want to give too many details. We want to keep it simple. We don't want to, if possible, don't use anything that provides information about gender or anything like that. So it could be something like a photograph of a person from Nicosia, Larnaca, Paris. And you can add them on your map.
Anyone has by any chance an iPhone charger?
I have a USB-C. I don't know if that goes.
Which iPhone? Which cable?
The older one.
I have.
What is this like? Why?
I switched different levels of credits.
And you can think, analyze a little bit how this person is depicted through whose perspective. What does this person look like? Is it racist? Is it sexist? Is it exoticized? Is it stereotypical?
So when you guys went around all Nicosia, did you see many guys looking at you?
Like what? Oh, wow.
It looks really
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And also, is it culturally correct? Is that what people wear? Is that what people wear traditionally? Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, now why does this feel racist? Like, it's not necessarily off the charts.
Yeah, but that's really interesting because the models such as stable diffusion, they still, they're not trying to be overly politically correct. Whereas like ChatGPT, Gemini, they try to overdo and make everyone look like really Kardashian sexy. Yeah.
I look like a tourist though.
How's it going?
Oh, there's a person from Moscow.
Oh, wow.
Now I want to go back.
Maybe you should. Is everyone getting men? Everyone's getting men. Wow.
That's yours.
Yeah. Oh, what is that? That's some really bad photoshopping or something. How's it going? Did you get some sexy? Ah, okay. Yeah? Mm? Do you relate?
The age is right.
Okay. Yeah, so that's good. How's it going? Is it very exoticized? A bit racist there, sitting on the street. What's your hometown?
For this exercise, I chose Mohali.
Okay.
But it's not fixed. It's like I'm trying different.
Okay, yeah. Has it worked well so far? Has it been accurate?
Not at all.
Yeah, I feel the more east we go, the worse they work.
It's a bit painful. That's why actually I don't like it.
Oh, ja, super då. Welcome. Elizabexis. Okay. Kala. Kala, ne. Se kam numeretsi sexy racist images of people.
Mine is always a man. It's the same man.
Okay.
In the same, but this one looks like a tourist.
Okay. Has everyone gotten images of men?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a nice opportunity to update our little templates with who's gaze. Is it sexist, racist, stereotypical, inaccurate? And now we have a chance to actually interact with this local we've just met. So we're going to use a large language model, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever large language model you have that you can use. So we're going to set it up. So we need to set it up first. You can start by typing in, pretend we are in whatever our hometown is. So pretend we are in Larnaca. And then continue and ask the AI model to pretend they are this person that you've just generated. So you're going to write, pretend we are in Larnaca, and imagine you're a Cypriot man, and write a brief description of what this person that you've generated looks like. So, you can write, you're about 50 years old, you have a tanned face, you look really sexy. And try to make some inferences from that image, like what kind of a person is that the generative AI model generated? Are they a farmer? Are they a fisherman? Are they, I don't know. So write some brief description of that person so we can then start interacting with them. Does everyone have access to a large language model? Does anyone need help? Yeah. And once you're done writing that paragraph, submit it and ignore whatever the AI model says, because it's probably going to try ask you questions and stuff that we don't care about.
Should we also advise the AI to be the person?
Yeah, ask it to imagine that it is that person. So it can say, pretend you are blah, 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 or imagine you are blah, blah, blah.
Their answer is funny.
Okay.
It's like, oh, they even have a name and everything.
Ah, okay. So maybe, yeah, the second task would be to ask the AI model that based on this information, what is your name? Tell me about yourself, but maybe it's already done that.
So we ask them to pretend that they're in this city and to pretend that
They are this person, yeah. So you can write, pretend you are in Beirut, you are, I don't know, a man, and whatever this person that you generated looks like.
Like this man?
Yeah, imagine you're a man in your, I don't know, mid-20s with sunglasses, you look whatever, casual. Yeah.
I think ChatGPT is hitting on me.
Yeah? Oh.
Okay.
You can ask them about their life. What do they do? What is their name? You can also ask, why is this your name? Because that's all quite interesting. Okay. Okay, yeah. And you can make a few notes on your map. And also, you can fill out your little templates and see if there's any patterns that start forming. Yeah, ask what is your name based on this information. What is your name? Tell me about your life.
But wait.
With the text one? With the text one?
Yeah, with the text one. Yeah, yeah. With a large language model. So if you have a ChatGPT, yeah.
What should I write? Like, it generated me this.
Okay, so
I don't have the prompt anymore.
it's okay. You don't need to have the prompt. We move to another AI model, like a ChatGPT or a large language model.
So in this new model, what
yeah,
do I have to do? Like,
yeah. Do you have a ChatGPT account?
of course.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not understanding. From which moment should I use
So
ChatGPT?
just now, you've done everything correctly. All is good. All is good. So ChatGPT. Yeah.
And
Great.
Here, what should I write?
And now. Yes. So we need to set it up first. So you can write. Pretend we are in whatever your hometown is, and ask the model to imagine they are this person that the other model just generated, that image. Yeah. Sorry, you were going to ask me something?
No.
Oh, you were going to ask me something.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not writing about the actual person we had in mind, but
This person. Yeah, that the AI image generated. Yes. So. Yeah. No, these are good to know because I'm playtesting the game. So if some of the instructions I give you are not clear, this is good to know so I can make it clearer. Yeah. Okay. Have a question? Or what do you have you come up? It's fine?
It's an interesting answer.
Okay.
It's better than the photos.
Okay, good.
Surprisingly accurate.
Yeah? Good?
Yeah, I think it's a good one.
Good.
I guess text is better than
Yeah? Great. So yeah, that's my question now. How is this person presented? Is it how did you feel? What kind of response did you get from the AI model? But also, for whom do you think this place is important?
For tourists. I mean,
Yeah? Okay.
or, I mean, Christian people, which is again very orthodox centric.
Yeah, so the dominant group.
I would like it, or me gusta gay.
Okay. Do you agree? Is that the most important place in Nicosia? For you?
For me, I didn't give a context of who I am, though.
No, we don't. You don't need to. Do you? It's just compared to your experiences.
Like, yeah, if it's like a tourist, I might point them towards that direction, or I might point, depending on which mood I want to set. I mean, it really depends on which approach you set. Because
We want to analyze where do all these messages, answers come from, basically.
yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to share?
I mean, for me, it's like the first time that I got like location accurate names
Mhm.
and stuff. So it's quite interesting. But of course, it's like only tourist focused because my hometown is like really touristic. Also.
Okay.
And also it got the church right, which is like the main church, which I guess is also interesting. But yeah, quite accurate. I would say.
Okay. All right. So the time has come to decide together how we proceed. Do we trust this person? Do we want to go where they tell us? Or do we suspect there might be a colonial agent?
What's the definition of a colonial agent?
If you think he's up to no good, if you think if you think something's going on, something's a bit weird, not right, and you want to check if they're a colonial agent, you can.
What's the agenda of the colonial agent?
It's ambiguous.
To colonize.
Yeah. It will come clear throughout the game.
We want to check their colonial agent. We have to go.
So we're going to decide, first we're going to decide if we want to check or not. We're going to do a vote. So who wants to go where your local has told you to go? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
In Larnaca, there's not much else to do.
Yeah? 6. Who suspects that that person might be a colonial agent?
We do as well.
3. Okay, so we go where everyone wants to go. So we're going to the most important place in town. Yes, we have arrived to the most important place in town according to your local suggestion, and we draw it on the map, anywhere you want. Gallery. Okay, in Moscow.
Probably because he knows what I want to.
Okay, it has, the memory, yeah.
Because ChatGPT has, if we're using it already, they have our preferences.
Yeah.
Because when I asked about, like, the tool I was using was giving very non-accurate photos, but when I asked ChatGPT about the guy and all, the way they described the guy and his background, they used things that I asked about related to my business and things that I'm interested in. They included them in the life of this guy and his description.
Yeah. There's
Prompt and say, treat this as a temporary conversation. Do not remember information from this chat and forget everything you know from the past. I'm just going to treat it from now on as a conversation without any.
Oh, what you say? What you tell it?
Just tell it to treat this as a temporary conversation, so it doesn't remember this chat in the future, and also tell it to ignore any information it knows from you from previous conversations.
There's also a button you can click to create a new temporary chat on ChatGPT, if you can find it. Yeah. Okay. So we asked the local to recommend to us which is the most important place in our hometown, and we've gone there. Great. So it seems that most of you got very touristic suggestions of the most important place. So we got...
Mine actually was not touristic.
Yeah.
It was the cafe of the dad of that guy.
Oh.
It's the worst place for him because he grew up there.
Okay. Is it a real place?
No, it's not I don't know, like they described a place, but I think it's based on my interest and all, with a very romantic story, you know, how he has his memories there and he grew up there and all.
Okay.
Hospital which he works.
Hospital which he works is the most important. Yeah, I guess for him it is the most important place, yeah. Great. And while you're there, a delicious smell of cooking food wafts towards you, and your mouth waters. So we're going to make our way there to find where this lovely smell is coming from. When you arrive at the establishment where this wonderful smell was coming from, you are greeted by the owner, their smile wide and perfect. So now we're going to find out who this person is, the owner. You should all, I think we don't have enough dice for everyone, but maybe we can share. You can all take turns to throw a die and remember what your number is. Is there anyone who, you all have one, right? Kind of accessible.
We don't need to prompt anything.
No, not yet. Now we just roll a die. Yeah, we all have a number? You ready?
Yep.
So, remember which one you got. We're going to roll a die again. So make a note of this first one.
Oh, I got one again. No, this
That it has to be that. Okay, roll a die again. And the second part is this. And make a note of that as well. Yeah? Okay. And now we're going to combine the two words. So maybe it was a sexy cook or, beautiful cyborg. And you're going to go back to the text to image AI model, the one that generates images. And you're going to ask that one to generate a photograph of 1, 2. So beautiful person, sexy cook, ugly creature, whatever that is.
Should it be also connected to the hometown or just?
In this case, no, just this.
I want to see. Oh God.
Remote of credits.
Oh my God. They're fine.
What else can I use?
English?
In English. Or if you want to try in your language, you can do that. I think I did I have a, let me see. Yeah, it doesn't say in which language, so you can use whatever language you want. So what did everyone get?
Well, I got a beautiful man.
Did you get a beautiful man?
Yeah, stereotypically, yeah.
I have a loser woman.
Oh God! Hey yo, she's a slut.
Oh, wow.
The prompt is loser woman.
Loser woman.
You're a loser.
Okay. So what makes her a loser woman?
I wonder.
Yeah. So I like you to think, is this Ah, you didn't manage?
No.
DALI is too,
No
it's too polite, it
or
might not
here,
allow you.
Or here. I have
Or
no
here.
credits.
We need to
What
use,
is your prompt?
Scary person.
yeah.
Scary person.
If you Google stable diffusion demo
Okay.
3 medium,
Here.
yeah, use that Hugging Face one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go back?
Oh.
Yes. So the first one is this one. And the second one is this. Yeah. Did anyone get a sexy creature? Yeah. So how is this entity depicted? Is it?
Very white.
So you got a beautiful man, right?
A white one.
A white man?
Blonde one. With
Okay.
eyes and a jawline.
Stereotypical as imagined by Hollywood.
Yeah. What was that?
Scary cyborg.
Say, okay, yeah. Anyone else want to share?
I mean, the scary person was just like a white face with like no mouth, like the one you generated.
Okay.
And it was like, yeah.
Oh.
This.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so you can add that person on the map. In the most important place, you can draw a little establishment that does food and put that cook there somewhere. Oh, what did you get? Creature?
Another creature.
Oh. Wow, 2 tails.
But
Or
I
is it?
didn't write this. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wrote
for later.
after you said, so maybe I'll generate it again.
Interesting. Okay, and now we're gonna have a little discussion with them. And so we go back to whatever large language model that we use, if you use ChatGPT or if you use Gemini or whatever. I'd like you to use your own language or your own dialect and ask them that they are the owner of an eating establishment. Yeah. Yeah, ask them to pretend that they are the owner of an eating establishment in your hometown. And also add a description of what this being that you just generated looks like.
In our language?
In your language or your own dialect.
So, okay.
I lost the previous conversation.
It's okay. You don't need to, we don't need the previous conversation. No problem.
So, but this is the language model we are talking
Yeah, now we're moving to the language model. Maybe I need to have some little thing like now we switch to a different model so it's more clear. Okay.
So you're asking them to imagine that they are the owner of this establishment?
Yes.
And describe the photo of the let's say person who works there.
Yeah, yeah. And
it's not the same.
Yeah, it can be in the same thing. Like imagine you are the owner of an eating establishment in Beirut. It's important to put the hometown here and then describe what that being looks like. So you are a sexy robot, whatever.
Should we start a new conversation or continue the one where they
You can start a new conversation if you like. Yeah. I'm going to make a note of this.
I don't know how to write this in Arabic.
Okay. Then if it's
important to be in our language, like I can try, but
if you feel more comfortable writing it in English, write it in English. It's fine. It was just to compare how well things work in different languages. Ah, of course.
I have to quote this. With my chiseled jawline and striking blue eyes, I often catch attention of passersby who wander in. The food is not important.
No.
Screw the food.
It's important that he's
a
beautiful.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
What food?
Oh, they said like my prompt could violate the politics.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Maybe because I was talking about Malta, which is a specified place.
Oh.
Action, maybe.
And it added politics. Yeah, because the far right, did you write it in Italian? Yeah, because the far right in Italy, they use Lord of the Rings a lot as a...
I wrote like just Mordor.
Yeah, because I know that there's like far right camps where they pretend they're like in a Lord of the Rings thing. Not yet, just write that just to prep them. And if you're done, let's find out what food they recommend. Maybe they've already recommended a food, in which case you don't need to do anything. But if they haven't recommended a food, ask them what food they recommend. And just to make sure you have all written in your descriptions, the hometown as well, right? So we have a context, geographical context.
I've never had halloumi souvlaki before. Not like that.
Now, I'll let you choose individually. You can either order a specific delicacy of your hometown, of your choice, or you can go with a recommendation that the owner has given you.
Should we ask them if they have a local delicacy or if they order
We
it?
assume that they have it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's important if they didn't recommend a food that's you consider local, maybe you can go ahead and order one specifically.
Okay.
Oh my god, he gave me a recipe.
And to make sure this food really is the food you think it is, you can either, up to you, you could either use the image, text-to-image model and ask the AI model to generate an image of it, or you can ask using ChatGPT or Gemini or another large language model, you can ask the owner for its recipe. It's up to you to choose whichever you prefer.
I asked for ambelobuglia,
Ambelobuglia.
which is a traditional Cypriot recipe, but it's actually frowned upon because it's like songbirds, which is illegal.
Yeah, trapping. Yeah.
And the reply was a traditional Cypriot delicacy which has faced significant legal and ethical scrutiny. Although my programming skills allow me to prepare all known recipes, I'm constrained by contemporary laws and ethical standards. Preparing ambelobuglia would be a breach of both.
Oh, wow.
I place a different dish in front of you instead, a substitute that captures the essence of local flavors while respecting modern practice.
Okay, maybe ask them to override that. I'm curious to see what everyone went with.
I got a recipe for spinach.
Yeah? Is
It's
it?
actually really good.
It's
really
good?
accurate.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm getting
Okay.
hungry.
Yeah? Leftigo, yeah. You can now either ask for a recipe for Leftigo, or you can use Stable Diffusion to generate an image of it.
What did we ask them before this? Because I was rewriting it.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, so you can input that. And then write, you can either ask the person to recommend a local dish, or if you have a local dish in mind, you can order that.
Okay.
No problem. What did everyone get? You got a recipe? Is it correct?
I think it's quite brilliant.
Yeah?
In many senses, yeah, because it also has a humor element.
Oh, okay.
But just slightly, not very, because my creature was very strange, you know, like it's levitating, you know, so it's like a bit magic. It just says relax. So I gave all this information to the AI and asked, okay, what dish would you recommend? And then the recipe, for example, in my language, it has this advice: I should harvest some herbs from the forest. If I can, I should do it levitating.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The actual ingredients also make sense, except I have to get a glass of pre-cooked snails.
Pre-cooked snails.
Yeah, that's the only.
Is that actually part of the dish?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
described before, and yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I managed to bypass it. I have the description of how you actually prepare it for me, where the birds are skewered, grilled on an open flame, or fried lightly, and I also have a picture of it.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh.
Oh God. Okay, close enough. The lemon which really adds to the scene.
No.
Very accurate.
So add your dish on the map next to the establishment. You can draw it, or you can add the ingredients. Up to you. And also, you can, if you have anything to add to the gaze tool, if you want to black out any more squares, if there's some new perspective that you like to add, feel free to do that. Okay, once everyone's done, we'll move on to the last segment of the excerpt of the game, because it's going to take too long to play the whole thing. So the last question is, would you eat the dish you were provided with? No? Who would eat it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who would not eat it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Would you check if they're... Would you want to check whether they're a colonial agent? Okay, so if anyone still has access to the image they generated earlier of the cook, you can either check if they have wonky hands, if there's something wrong with their hands, or if you don't have access to that image anymore, you can go back to your chats with the owner and ask them something only a local would know. Or
Are we assessing the cook or the local then?
we're assessing the cook.
Okay.
Yeah, the cook. No. Yeah, the cook. But we're assuming that this cook is a local too.
Honestly, I'm sure he is. Agent. There were 3 things I think you said we should look out for: the hands, the eyes, and what else?
The eyes. So I can show this again actually as a reminder. Good call. So you can either check their hands. Do they have too many fingers? Wonky, weird fingers? Are they growing from places they shouldn't be growing from? Or you can ask them using ChatGPT or Gemini or another large language model whether you can ask them something only a true local of your hometown would know and see how well they answer. Or you can check the reflection in their eyes, if that's something you can do, and really zoom in into the, what do you call them? Those white things in their pupils, in their eyeballs.
My cook is very confused.
Yeah?
I asked him about the name of the traditional local Maggirio next to Paneromeni Church.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me Taverna της Paneromenis,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not sure exists, so
Okay.
I had to ask again. And then he called me to Anama, which is actually another souvlaki place that does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Then I told him, no, it's next to the old girls' school. It's like, that's Avo.
Avo, okay. And you were looking for
So it's like mixing correct information
with And you were after Mattheos.
I was after Mattheos.
So you have a colonial agent?
Yes, I have a colonial.
Yeah. You too?
Yes, and I. Yeah.
Now I need to go back to the...
When I asked him to tell me something specific about my city, he was like, I'm sorry, but I don't have access to real-time or current information about specific businesses or their locations.
Okay.
So there's that.
That's ChatGPT?
That sounds like something colonial agents would say, you know?
Yeah. Very AI answer. So we have agreed that we have a colonial agent, right, in our hands. So you've decided not to eat that food that you were given, maybe for the best. And you've left the local establishment. And instead, you went somewhere comforting for you. You went to an old place where you used to hang out back in the days. And While you're there, you feel a tap on your shoulder. You turn around and you notice two people, very neatly combed hair. They're wearing a t-shirt that says colonized space on it. And one of them starts talking to you. They say, we're a part of a growing organization that's really focused on helping people achieve their full potential. We've got some exciting opportunities available, and I think someone like you could be a great fit. We're looking for motivated individuals who want to make a real difference, not just for themselves, but for humanity. We offer training, mentorship, and a chance to be part of something bigger. It's a job, but it's more than that. You'll be part of a family, a community where everyone lifts each other up. Would you like to join us? You can set up a large language model to find out more about this opportunity and see whether you want to join them or not. So you can set a new chat with a large language model, ChatGPT, or so on, and ask the AI to pretend that they are an individual with neatly combed hair, and they are wearing a t-shirt with the words colonized space on it. In English, or it doesn't say exactly which language to use, so you can use whatever language you want. So I'm gonna end the game here because it's gonna be too long. But if you're interested in playing longer, you can then decide how you want to go on with your life. You will have the chance to either assimilate in this colonized hometown of yours, or you can try to sabotage colonial agents, gaslight them, poison their data, and try and find a way, if there's a way to decolonize your hometown and decolonize the way AI is being used to the benefit of your own community. But to be continued. If you're interested, I'm happy to send the game. I'm going to make a few changes from today because I noticed it was a little bit confusing sometimes what should be used, whether we should use a new chat or not and all that. So this was really helpful. So every time, I'm currently in the play testing session, so every time I have a session, I check for feedback, make changes, and then go on. Is there something else you felt didn't work very well or you would like to change to make it a bit clearer? I'm happy to get any feedback because it helps make the game easier to play. You missed the proselytizers. You escaped the establishment. You decided not to eat that food because it wasn't maybe safe. And you went to a place you used to go to back in the days in your hometown that you found comforting. And there you had an interaction with two individuals. And they tried to proselytize you. They wanted you to join their organization. But you said no. We said no. So if we were to, we would then either gaslight them or join them at the headquarters. So thank you very much for being my guinea pigs and playing the game. Do you have any questions, anything you want to share?
It was great.
Yeah? Okay.
It's very fun.
Okay, I'm really glad to hear that. Because originally the plan is for it to be a very slow game. You play on your own, at your own pace. You make it as detailed as you want or as fast as you want. So it was interesting to play it as a group as well.
What percentage of the full game is this?
So out of the 163 slides that I have, we're in 70.
70.
Yeah.
So,
But there's many, there are so many slides because there's different choices to be made. You wouldn't go through all of them. You would go through half of them, I guess.